All right, good morning. My name's Jeff. I'm one of the builders here at Woodstock Soapstone, and today we're going to go over replacing the front glass in the Progress wood stove. Now, it's not too bad of a job. It should take about half hour or so with a few basic tools, but it's not too bad. It will walk you through there nice and slow. All right, so the glass on this stove is held in by this cast iron window frame right here. Now, in order to get this out, we're going to have to loosen the top a little bit. We don't want to take it completely off. We only want to loosen it enough to get the cast iron corners off and allow the top to still hold the stone. Otherwise the stone will fall out, and then we don't want that to happen. So there's a few basic hand tools that you're going to need. You're going to need a ratchet with a short extension and a 1/2 inch deep socket. You're also going to need a 1/4 inch Allen head. A T-handle works well. It makes it a little bit faster, but you can use a basic Allen wrench. And also an 1/8 inch Allen wrench. Again, this is a screwdriver type, but a regular Allen wrench will work. All right, so the first thing we have to do is we're going to loosen the top. Now the top is held on by 4 threaded rods coming up through the base, up to the top, threaded in here, and they're tightened with the nuts on the bottom. If you feel in under here, you look under here with your flashlight. I recommend that you have one of this for this job. You look under, and there's a large nut that is in the center of this leg. Now that is what holds the leg to the base. There's another nut just to the rear, over in here, up underneath, that you'll find and you'll feel, and it's right here on the bottom. Now this is where that threaded rod is on all 4 corners. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to just loosen the top, because sometimes you can get away with just doing the front corners and not touching the rear. So the first thing to do, if your stove has an ash pan, is to open it up, let the cover fall so you have a little bit of room in there to work. Feel up in here, take a look with your flashlight, and you'll find that offset nut. Don't loosen the center one in the leg, because that'll obviously loosen your leg up. So come in under here, find that nut, get up in here on it. It's a little bit tight, so it might take a little bit of maneuvering to get up in there. Okay. Now what you want to do when you loosen it is loosen it evenly on each side. So I back it off about 6 or 7 quarter turns of the wrench on each side. That will allow this to come up a little bit, and we might be able to get that off just doing that. If it's still too tight to get this out, we'll back it off a little bit more, but the same on each side. So just count as you go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Same area over here. That threaded rod is going to be right behind this corner in the cast. So reach up under here. Again, make sure you're on the right nut. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. As you do that, you should be able to see the top come up just slightly. Now, you'll need the 1/8 inch Allen wrench here. These cast iron corners are snugged up on the stove with a small set screw right here in the center. If I try to pull this corner off, it isn't going to come out, because there's a little tab under here that you need to lift the corner and clear the base to get that out. So come up in here and just back this out. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 half turns. That might be enough. Now you want to lift up and swing the bottom out to get that out. See, it's not quite enough. So we can try another half turn here, but I suspect we may have to loosen the nut again to let the top go up a little bit more. Back it out a little bit more. Try it again. It's not quite going to clear. All right. So because of that, we're going to loosen up 2 more quarter turns on that nut that holds the threaded rod. Hold this. Because I've loosened this up, as I back this out, it might clear enough where that cast is going to come down. So kind of hold right here. 1, 2. Now try coming up. See how that swings out? There's that tab I was talking about. That fits right in here. So that's what you have to clear to get this out. Set it aside. Now the top is not loosened enough for that stone to come out. It's still going to catch right there, so you don't have to worry about that. Come over here, do the same thing to this side. Again, you have to go around the ash pan door, so it'll take a little bit of finagling. 1, 2. Over here, back this out a little bit. 2, 3, 4. Up. Oh, not quite. A little bit more here. Oh, we'll have to go a little bit more on this corner. This corner probably was a little bit tighter than the other one to begin with. And then it swings out. There's that tab. Okay. Stone's not going anywhere. Set your tools aside. Okay, now, this is the area where you might need, you can do the job by yourself, but it's handy to have a second set of hands. These 4/4 20 nuts loosen up and that frame comes off, but this frame is what's holding this stone on. So it's going to want to fall. You can do it with one person, but what you're going to have to do is have yourself a little stool, sit in front of the stove. You can take this out and lay it on your lap while you're holding this. But it's a good idea to have a second set of hands. Loosen it evenly, but not all the way off. I'm just backing out 4 or 5 turns, quarter turns. Okay, now, this is where it gets a little bit delicate. You're going to want to hold that with your knee. This is where the chair comes in. If you're sitting, it's a little bit easier, but we have our stove up on a little hearth here, so we'll do it this way. Now, since you're bracing it with your knee, back that all the way out, and don't drop anything. We'll set that right there. Don't ever let go of this, because if this flops out, say you're on your last one, you're going to have a mess. Okay, now that frame will come out if you're not holding it. You pull it straight out, but you hold the stone as well. If it's just one person, you can pull them out together, but you got to make sure your hand is on this stone. I'm going to brace this stone right here with my left hand, and I'm going to slowly pull this out. Now the double panes of glass in there are held in a little channel on the other side of this frame. So as soon as you get it loose enough, you want to get your hands around, your fingers around that gasket. Okay, now I'm holding the stone and I'm bracing this on my leg. This is where the second set of hands comes in handy. Here's a channel where the gasket sits. Now what you can do, if you have your glass ready, which we'll ship you, it'll already be gasketed, and it will have the inner pane, which is the one that you're going to be replacing, will have a red dot on it. This glass has a heat-resistant coating on it to try to keep a lot of the heat in there. This is one of our highest cranking stoves, so you want to try to keep that in there. The red dot needs to be facing the fire, so that's the important part on this glass. You push it out from the other side. And if you have the other glass handy, you can remove this, take the other one, set it on there, and then set this back on. Notice I am not letting go of this stone. There's nothing holding that. There's cement behind it, but it's not going to hold it unless you're holding it up there. So then you have your new piece of glass, set it down on top of the other one, set it in the notches, double check to make sure that red dot is on this glass and it's going to be facing in. Otherwise you're going to end up doing this all over again and redoing it. Now, okay, not letting go. What you want to do, see, these are the 4 studs right here that frame sits on. Doing it this way, not letting go of this stone. Lift it up and set these studs in the lower holes first. Then it won't go anywhere. sits on the lower stone. Use your knee, take your time. Watch your fingers under the upper stone. Right now your frame is sitting on the bottom, so that's not going to go anywhere. Brace it. Push on the stone so it doesn't go anywhere. And set it in there. Now, that stone's not going anywhere. This is in position. Don't let go of the frame. It's still going to want to tip out. So now I'm going to reassemble the way I took it off. These are your quarter 20 nuts. They fit on the wrench like that. Get them started, but don't tighten it all the way. You'll see it when it starts to grab. Tighten it down in a diagonal fashion. Now I'm going to come to this corner. You'll see it pull in. Once it starts, then you can relax a little bit because it's not going to go anywhere. Now go to the opposite corners. Now just work it back and forth. Bring it in evenly. You don't want to crank down on one corner first because then it'll tighten potentially not evenly. You want to pull that gasket in nice and even. All the way around. Give it a little double check, make sure it's good and tight. Okay. Now you've got to put the corners back on. Make sure you don't mix up the corners because a lot of times they were ground specifically to fit the corner in assembly. Top goes in first while you're holding it up. Push it against the stone and it should drop down just like that. Now, it's not going to go anywhere. This is holding it. I don't want to snug that up until I tighten the top down. This little set screw here that you tighten with this is the very last thing you do. So that's not going to go anywhere. Come over here, do the same thing. Top first. Sets down in. Again, it's not going to go anywhere. So now, try to keep in mind, I think we backed it out about 9 or 10 half turns. Start there, and then you might want to give it a little bit of snug, but bring it down evenly. Don't crank this corner all the way, then come over there and try to do that, because then it's going to do this as it tightens. Kind of take your time and work your way back and forth. Hold this against the stone as you're tightening the nut. 8 on that one. Same thing over here. Hold the cast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now go 1, 2, 3, 4. Come over here, do this 4. It's going to vary depending on each stove, but you want to bring it kind of evenly, and you'll know when you get a good tight snug. Okay, top's tight. Very last thing you do, this corner should still be loose because you haven't snugged it with that set screw yet. Push it against the stone, push it in and towards the glass, and then just tighten this up. You don't have to crank this way down. This is just something to snug up that corner a little bit. Make sure it's not loose. Same thing here, in and towards the glass. Tighten it up. And that is it. Pretty straightforward. If you have any questions, any problems, just give us a call here at the shop, and you can talk to one of our customer service reps or one of the builders out front. Thank you.